and welcome to the Home Front. My name is Michelle Posey. I'm so glad that you're tuning in. A little bit of background about our show here. You know, we've searched many streaming services, many cable services, and I just can't seem to find programming that actually echoes maybe my opinion, or let's just face it, the freedom to talk about what my opinion might be. And that's why we created the Home Front here on Patriot TV. We bring on lovely guests, mostly women, on We Can Define What a Woman Is. Let's just put that in there. But we're glad to have you with us. We hope that you feel like this is home for you. This is the Home Front. Ladies, as we get started today, we're gonna go around, introduce yourselves, give us your first name, and I want 3 words that describe you. Start with Allie.
Always me. Hi, everyone. I'm Allie. Nice to have you guys joining us here at the Home Front, and all of you lovely ladies. I guess the 3 words that would describe me, one definitely has to be sassy. I'm very I'm a little sassy. Dynamic, maybe? Courageous?
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I think those work.
Strong should be another one.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's a strong woman. That being said, I'm Demi, and my 3 words are feisty. Everyone says I'm feisty and spicy, but really I'm feisty, I'm tough, but I'm also fair. And so depending on what the situation is, all those 3 words could mean something super serious, watch your back,
Right.
or just like, oh yeah, she is. So.
Nice. I think beautiful should be one of those.
Oh,
too.
you're so sweet. Thank you.
I'm Brianna, and oh God. 3 words to describe me. Okay, one has to be fearless because it's honestly probably a bad thing how fearless I am. Another one. This is so hard.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, for real.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Mom.
You're welcome.
I had this in my head. Fearless. I just want to say, like, you know, conservative Christian nationalist, but no, can't say that. No.
You can.
You
because it's
can
the Home
hear.
Front.
I guess more rough or like rednecky. Yeah, let's go with rednecky. All right.
New word.
Yes. I just made it up. It's a word now. Okay. And last one would actually be motherly.
Very true.
I will, you know, grab an AR and shoot you, but I'll only do it if you mess with, like, you know, my family.
Protective.
Crazy in a good way.
I love it.
And my name's Michelle, and 3 words to describe me: aunt, sister, daughter, friend, and rebel.
I love that, and I would agree
Awesome.
with the rebel. That is so
I
wonderful.
love it.
I think another word for all of you is should be beautiful. I mean, just the beauty sitting here at this table is breathtaking. You guys are wonderful. So my name's Michelle as well, and 3 words that would describe me, I'd have to say tough, loud, and loving. Ask my family, they might have other words, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Today, ladies, I wanted to know we're gonna
I would like to add stubborn.
Oh,
Ooh,
good.
okay, that's
Universal.
true.
Yeah.
That landed. That's like that's settled. Yeah.
That's my heart.
She accepts that.
I'll take that. I receive that.
Okay.
Ladies, today I wanted to talk about, you know, anytime we have the holidays that come up and you know you're going to have these big family gatherings or maybe a wedding or a special occasion, the 2 things that we're always told never to talk about are politics and religion. And I feel like, I don't know about you at home, but sometimes those are the only 2 things we talk about in our house. So I just want to know, what's your opinion on that? Do you think those are topics that we should actually be engaging more with discussion, or should it be one of those things that's more private?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go.
Okay, I was thinking about this just the other day, that we're told not to talk about politics or religion. But what are the things that are most important to us that impact culture, that impact the outcome?
Politics and religion.
Right. It's purposefully
Right.
to
Yeah.
shape the culture.
Yeah.
And we have like the tyranny of the nice, right? Our theology is bad. We think Jesus was just nice. Our culture teaches us to just be nice. Our HOAs constrict us to just be, you know, think of everybody else. I think this idea that you're not allowed to talk about these exciting, you know, things like politics and religion are used to create this sanitized culture where we don't really get at the real root of things.
Well, and there's a difference between nice and kind.
Yeah.
Right?
And I
Like-
don't think it's nice to not be telling the truth.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
It is not nice to not tell the truth.
so
To
good.
lie to people.
I've just
That
stopped
really is.
caring,
No.
especially around my friends. Like,
Oh.
if you get offended, if you
Yeah.
if you choose to spend 24 hours out of your day being offended by something I said, that's your choice.
Yeah,
Amen,
that's true.
girl.
That's
I hope
true.
that's multiplying in your generation.
It
And I
is.
hope that's coming up. Like,
I know.
I used to care. I used to like, oh no, but I have a friend that has a difference of opinion, so I'm not gonna post that because she'll see it.
Yes.
Right.
Who cares? If she doesn't have it in her to swipe and like not let it offend her, that's not my issue.
And to know like your heart. Right? Like it's if you have a friend who's been a friend for a long time and they see something that they may disagree with or strike some kind of emotion within them, they should be able to separate that their own emotion and their own reaction from you knowing you as a friend and where your heart lands. Right? And then to be able to have that conversation, I think is important as well. I know for me, I know that this is all I really ever talk about is politics. I mean, this is my life, right? And my son is 16 and he's just like, Mom, I love what you do. He's like, but it's politics like 24/7. Like it's in my school, it's in my classrooms, it's on the TV, it's in the games I play, it's everywhere. He's like, I just need a break. So when I come home, like, can we just not talk about politics at the table? And I'm like, yeah, but me and your dad just got off work. Like, why can't we just, I got to hash out whatever I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of like I have to go into a separate room to have these political discussions because I don't want to overwhelm my kid. I mean, he already feels overwhelmed because it's in every facet of his life, but it's all the negative side of politics. It's all one-sided political viewpoint. And so I think it's important to kind of
That's how it was for me when
about
my
it.
mom got into politics. Like, I didn't really want to talk about it because I felt like I was almost losing a bit of my mom to politics.
That's
It's
how
like,
he-
Mom,
yeah.
I want to talk about my day as well. I don't want it to all just be politics until we started working together. And now it's like our conversation, our thing. So maybe like bring him in on like for your meetings or stuff. See if he wants
That's
to.
great advice.
Well, and I will tell you, one of the biggest things that I did is I, super like hovering mom, I guess you could say. I when they were young, I'd protect them from the news. I didn't want them to watch certain things. It's like you're
Right.
trying to, you don't want them to get desensitized. But then it became, I'll never forget one day I was sitting in a Zoom meeting at my desk and we're talking about and it was the really well-known pastor we were Zooming in, and I'm listening to him talk about some things. And I remembered in my heart feeling like, oh, my kids, I really want them to hear this. They need to know this. Oh my gosh, what if they don't know this? Who's going to tell them? This person's not going to tell them. That place is not going to tell them. I'm going to have to tell them. And right then, I really wanted to get out of my chair, go grab both of them. They would not have liked this, and bring them, because it was like God put on my heart, who's going to tell them if we don't? And so it started at me trying. I don't think they liked it, but the stubborn part of me was like, no, let's come in. Let's talk about this. Do you know this is happening? And I think I kind of forced it a little bit, but we have to.
It's also sphere of influence because a lot of the things that you would tell me, I wasn't listening. But I started.
You heard it first here on the home front.
I wasn't listening. I was zoned out. I was thinking about what I was having for dinner. Okay. But then when I started to get more involved because we started working together, I heard it from other people as well. And so it's all about sphere of influence.
That's good.
To your point, Michelle, how many times have you heard parents say, like the kids can choose their religion, let the kids grow up and choose for themselves? I've often thought that if you're not at least representing your side and telling them as part of it, where are they going to learn it? Certainly if you, send them off.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. But if you think about it in the Word, the Lord tells us specifically to teach our children. Right. We're not told to have the educators teach our children. We're not told that let the pastor teach our children. He says for us to teach them and to have it memorized in their hearts, kind of like put it on their not their shoulder, their sleeve, right? And so it's our job to teach them. And we can't rely on other people because then they put their hidden agenda. I mean, come on, America, let's talk about the real conversation here. We're talking about politics and religion. And quite frankly, it really isn't religion. If you have a relationship with God, it shouldn't be a religious thing. It should be an intimate relationship. And that's how we have conversation on our kitchen table.
And that makes perfect sense, because if I was to meet somebody new today that completely altered my life, or if I stumbled into a doctor's office and found the one thing that's like the cure-all for everything, you would want to scream that from the mountaintop. So I think that's a good point, that if we're looking at it like that, why wouldn't I share it? And I think the people who share their faith the best, that's how they do it. They do it as a, let me tell you, you know, this person that I know, Jesus, right?
And another thing too is just prayer. Like, prayer is enough. When you have faith in that you're praying over your children, that's enough. That's honestly what worked for me. My mom prayed over me every single day of my life. And I used to be a hardcore liberal, a Democrat.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we moved back to Florida and I actually was around friends that had a difference of opinion. And I was like, actually, I don't think that the opinion that I came to was of my own accord. I think I actually just kind of
Adopted it.
said what people wanted me to say, just because I was around people who had those opinions.
Right, and you kind of tend to want to fit in with the crowd. I mean, that's just normal childhood behavior. Is you want to be liked. I mean, you can see that as a parent. I see that in my kids. They want to please their parents. They don't want their parents to be upset or mad or angry at them. They want to be able to please them, and I think that's how a lot of the indoctrination is occurring across the nation. Is that we have people, adults of influence, that are able to kind of put their claws into our babies' brains and show them, like, this is pleasing to me if you say these things. Like, we're using children as, you know, support animals. It's just, it's wild.
It's crazy. It is crazy. I'm so excited for our next guest, but before we bring on our next guest, I want to let you guys know we're going to give you a few words from our sponsors. But if anybody here at this table in the last 10 years bought or sold a house? Anybody? You have? Yes. Okay. And out there at home, I'm sure you have. You've either listed your home or bought your home, or you're on your way down here to Florida, because everybody is.
If you're in New York or California, stay. Please.
We need to win those states.
Yeah. Well, if you have, then you know the amount of fees that you're paying towards closing costs, and if you're not careful with who you choose with that precious task of selling your home or purchasing your home, you could actually put money into the wrong people's hands. I'm talking about realtors and real estate companies that go on and donate to Clinton, Biden, Clinton Foundation,
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood. Who you choose to walk you through that stage of your life of putting your house on the market or purchasing a home matters. So I want you to navigate with me over to magarealty.com. Don't you just love the name? Bold enough, we're talking about, are you bold enough to talk about things? Magarealty.com says everything you need to know right there. Go to their website, read about them, figure out who they are a little bit. They're nationwide, guys, and also they give you an AR-15 when you close on your home.
No way.
I always say, you know what? Keep your ADT sign.
I'm about to go
I'll take my AR-15.
I'm about to go buy like a really run-down house that's like super cheap just for the AR.
Oh my gosh.
We'll be
21,
back,
21.
We'll be back
Yes.
with more of the Homefront. Stay tuned. One moment.
I'm General Mike Flynn. Patriotism in America is under attack. America is the greatest country in history. Every home in America should proudly display their pride. Every home in America should fly Old Glory. And that is why at MAGA Realty, we give every home buyer a 25-foot flagpole and an American flag. Contact us today at MAGA Realty, where we will fight as hard for you as we do for America. Go to magarealty.com, magarealty.com.
Welcome back, America. Thank you for joining us here on the Homefront. You know, we were just talking about what we're comfortable discussing. Are we comfortable talking about our politics or the fact that we're MAGA? I want to welcome onto the show today Cliff Gebhardt. He is from MAGA Realty. Hi, Cliff. Thanks for joining us on the Homefront.
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on this show and be with people that speak their mind and do talk about politics. Before we get started, I know in the last segment you asked 3 people to give their identifying adjectives.
Yes.
I'm going to give mine.
Okay.
Father, husband, MAGA.
Woo!
You just- you just father, husband, MAGA. It cuts through. It'll tell you exactly who I am.
That's
love it.
awesome. That's awesome. And Cliff, I love the fact that we talked about being free to discuss things that are important to us, even if it is something as delicate as politics. Because you do this, you took a bold move, not just in MAGA Realty, but even your coffee shop that you own, Conservative Grounds. You just went for it. You just said, "This is who I am. I'm going to bring this out as part of my business plan." What was that process like?
Well, on July 4th of 2019, I saw this story come out that 6 police officers were asked to leave a Starbucks. It infuriated me. From that moment, I decided I was going to start a coffee shop that didn't ask police officers to leave, but we actually gave all first responders, military, free coffee and donuts for life. So that's kind of how it all started. There was a show I watched called The Loudest Voice, and it was about the rise of Fox News and how Roger Ailes dealt with it. And there was a scene in there where they were talking about how they were going to take this market share from MSNBC and this from CNN and Roger Ailes said, "We're not going to do any of that. We're going to get 100% of 40%. And that's kind of our business model for not only my coffee shop, but also for MAGA Realty, because I'll let the Keller Williams, the Century 21s, the Coldwell Bankers, all of them split up the other 60%. But 40% of the people that love America do not want to see their money going to nefarious things like the DNC, to Fetterman, to Biden. If you don't want your money to go to those places, then you should hire a company that will not send it to those places. And at MAGA Realty, we vow not one shiny penny will ever go towards any liberal campaigns or causes. So it's the same model I use with Conservative Grounds. It's just, hey, we'll give up the 60% for the true hardcore 40% that love America and don't want to see, their money's going. There was this big hoopla over the summer about a can of beer that had a transvestite on it. And everybody's losing their mind. I'm not going to buy a beer. I'm not going to buy a beer. No, I can't buy the beer. Kid Rock's shooting them with the guns. No beer, no beer. But what they don't realize is they're worried about a $3 can of beer. But if you sell your house, it's likely the most largest transaction in your lifetime. And you could give between $10,000 and $50,000 to a real estate company that is going to funnel that money to a lot worse things than Budweiser ever did. So real estate is it's the easiest one to deal with. You know where your money could go. You know how, it's a lot of money too. It's not onesie twosies. So that's why we started MAGA Realty. And I'm grateful to have Steve Coderre, General Flynn, and a lot of other patriots, involved in this with us.
I even notice on your social media, it's the courage of sort of just posting the truth. I feel like it's contagious, right? Like people around, I've noticed this even with myself, people around me will kind of like share because they're like, okay, she's doing it. You've done this right from the get-go, and I appreciate that. Ladies, do you have any questions here for Cliff?
I have 2 questions. I'll start with the easiest. For your caffeine, is that something we could order online? Can we order your coffee online? Okay.
But in about 30 days, if you go to conservativegrounds.com, it was taken down, but we are retooling the whole thing, and it's going to be, we've been in business for like almost, I think, 3 years, and we've been doing a great business, but we realized that we're going to go from a small coffee shop with a moderate online presence to we're going to really expand that over the next 30 days.
Okay. And with the same coffee comment, do you guys have like organic grains? Like what type of beans do you have going on over there?
Okay, well, I'm gonna be honest with you here. I'm gonna be brutally honest. I've never drank a cup of our coffee because I don't drink coffee.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't drink coffee, but I support America, and that's why I started it.
Okay.
Somebody referred to me as a vegan who owns a steakhouse. But I do know, we typically carry like 4 different blends, and we pay the most you could pay for coffee because I chose to order the best coffee there was instead of just, like Starbucks will just order any bean, burn the heck out of it, and put a bunch of sugar into it and hand it to you. I've heard great reviews about our coffee, but it's very, very expensive. It's not expensive, but we don't buy the garbage coffee. Yeah. And but I know it's a coffee shop, but it's more of a camaraderie shop. Conservative Grounds is a place where people come and they can engage in free thought. They can talk about whatever they want. They don't have to worry about a cup of fluid being thrown in their face or somebody ripping off their MAGA hat. It's so much more than a coffee shop. It's so much more. We have like guns all over the wall with the Second Amendment painted. We have "In God We Trust" over the front door. We have
So you have like
huge
a
flags.
desk
The
for
whole-
people to sit
we
at?
have, we have a we have a replica of the Oval Office in there. It's
That's
so much
awesome.
more than a coffee shop.
So
I know, but nobody's ever gone to a Sprite shop and just sat around and drank Sprite. So that's why we pick coffee.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. And then my real second question, the harder one, is I'm in the market to put my house for sale and then purchase something else. In what ways could you help me from where you are and where I'm at?
Well, first of all, where we're at is the world is not like it used to be in 1972. Everybody's connected. The moment your house goes online, people from all over the place are looking at it. A lot of purchasers, and I did this myself when I bought my daughter a place. I literally did the inspection on like a Facebook live video.
Wow.
And we have a network of conservative agents that we highly vet, and we make sure that when we do pay them with your commission dollars, not one penny is going to go towards a school board member that you wouldn't endorse, or a presidential campaign, or a congressional campaign. So we have literally a network of thousands of agents that we have gone through the vetting process and found them and scoured the entire country to find only conservative agents. So we vet them from the top down. We first look at the company. There's a few companies that I would never participate in, and it's difficult because I don't know that I'm allowed to say the companies. There's like this gray rule. You can say it, but I can't say it because it's for commercial purposes.
Right.
So we start with the company, and then we look at the ownership. And then once we get past that, if they do clear that, then we look at the local ownership of who owns that office. We look at voting records. We look at social media posts. We make sure that they're not doing anything that you would never do with your money. And I often say, if you wouldn't put a Biden sign in your yard, why would you put the sign of a real estate company that's going to donate to Biden?
So good.
And
That's
I can
good.
tell you that Gary Keller of Keller Williams has donated to things that I assure you none of you at that table have donated to.
Wow.
And I assure you, if you look at EXP, he has donated, the CEO and chairman of that company has donated to things that you would never donate to. But where do these people get their money from? They get it from commissions from their agents. Most agents probably don't even know they work for people that are terrible, in our opinions. Like Berkshire Hathaway is owned by Warren Buffett. We all know who Berkshire Hathaway is. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services is owned by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has admitted and said that he has donated $4 billion to pro-abortion causes. Pro-abortion causes. Are any of you ladies in favor of abortion?
No.
Okay, so he's donated $4 billion to pro-abortion causes. If you look at that, the average abortion in today's market is about $500. So Warren Buffett could be argued, could be said, I don't want to be sued, it could be conferred, that Warren Buffett has terminated, eliminated, destroyed, or killed 4 million souls in the first part of his thing and another 4 million souls. He has terminated 8 million souls off this earth with his $4 billion. Now, why would you, if you're very against abortion, and you think, I would never have abortion, I'm out there, marketing so people don't have an abortion, I'm standing outside of abortion clinics, but yet I'm going to put a sign in my yard that the money that I'm going to give them in commissions is going to somehow go to pay for one more abortion for the kid down the street? It's insane, guys. We need to defund the left every step of the way. And the biggest way you can do it, the biggest transaction anybody has on their, almost the largest transaction anybody has, is their house. It's easy. It's the one-stop shop. Go to MAGA Realty. None of that will happen.
So I have 2 questions for you. I know, it's like crazy, right?
A lot to take in there, wasn't it?
It was, no, that was a lot, but thank you so much for providing that insight.
You could argue that Warren Buffett has killed more people than Hitler.
Oh my.
Wow. All the perspective. Wow.
That's crazy, right? Well, if you didn't get anything out of that other than you need to research who you're giving your money to, then that is exactly what he just laid out for you perfectly. My follow-up question to that is, would you consider your MAGA Realty to be the answer to the homeowners association or the Realty Association? Realtors Association, because I know that during campaigns they like to endorse the liberal Democrat side of the candidates. So is that essentially what you guys are giving your money to, is the opposite?
Well, so here's the rub, is everybody uses Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com to list, sell, or buy a house. Okay, so, and we are realtors because we have to use the system. Nobody would be accepting if I just said, "Hey, I'm gonna put a sign in your yard, and I'm gonna send up a smoke signal and hope somebody sees it," or I'm gonna put a post up on True Social and hope somebody buys your house. So now, National Association of Realtors is a PAC. I will tell you that as a realtor, I've never given one dime to the PAC.
Okay.
Okay, I will tell you that some of my money does go to the National Association of Realtors, just because we got to play on their playing field.
Okay.
Now, I think that it's the realtors in the organization that need to steer the direction of the decisions they made. But the realtor PAC is the NAR is a very big PAC.
Well,
I mean, that's fair, right?
and the interesting thing is it's a monopoly. There's no alternative to the National Association of Realtors. I mean, if you want to be on the MLS, right, there's only one option.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
there's one option, but there's another option that's kind of developing, and it's been developing for a handful of years. Some people are going straight to Zillow, and not using MLS, and that's an option, and we've seen that happen. It's a little bit clumsy and it's a little bit cumbersome, but I believe that Zillow and Homes.com, their entire goal from 1997 when they all got started, is to do away with the National Association of Realtors.
Right.
The National Association of Realtors, guys, is nothing more than local clubs like the Moose Lodge or the Elks Lodge.
Oh, okay.
And there's like a mothership, and every community has their different boards.
Okay.
Like, here it's the Pinellas Realtor Organization, and then there's one in Pasco, there's one in Venice, and there are all these boards that make up these like things. And back, some of you on that panel won't remember, but back up until I think 1997, the MLS was nothing more than a book.
Yep.
And and if you wanted to have your house in the book, you had to pay, this commission. And that commission was kind of a standard kind of thing. Not exactly, but
Get yourself on those boards, you guys. Okay, second question, and it'll be really quick, I promise. Are you thinking about franchising Conservative
absolutely.
Grounds?
We're actually looking to start. We're looking at putting a few offices. Some places want to change their name that we're talking to from XYZ to MAGARealty.com.
Okay.
You understand, MAGA Realty, what we learned, we originally started out as Revere Realty. But after like 3 or 4 months, we actually spent time negotiating a deal to own MAGARealty.com. And once that happened, we became overnight, we became a national brand. But when you tell somebody I work for MAGA Realty, it's no longer a guessing game what they are about. It's no longer,
right.
It's,
I love
it's,
that.
it's not like,
That's
well, tell me about your company. Yeah, I just told you it's MAGA Realty.
Well, are you thinking about franchising Conservative Grounds?
Oh, yes. There are some plans for that. It's a little bit more complicated to do franchising of Conservative Grounds,
Right.
Than giving licensing to companies to do MAGA Realty. So I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, the question was for both, so thank you for that.
I have to ask you, Cliff, whose idea was it to do the AR-15 giveaway upon
Oh, that's
closing?
a good one.
Well, I'm transparent and I'm honest. From day one, we gave away a gun. I think it was mine or Steve's. I don't know. Steve and I kick around ideas all the time. But then we saw some other company in our area give away an AR-15. And AR-15 just kind of has it has the emotion more than, we give away a gun. I can reach in my pocket here and I can show you a gun.
Right.
But if you look behind me and you see my AR-15, I don't know if you can see it on camera, you'll see a gun. There's a big difference when you tell people I have a gun and then if you have an AR-15. So
Right.
AR-15 is just, first of all, nothing triggers liberals and lunatics more
Yes.
than an AR-15. So we kind of decided we'll give away an AR-15.
Nice.
I love it. So good.
I was going to ask one question about that. So legally, how does that work? So let's say we have Brianna here who is only 18 and she wants
19.
to, or 19. I'm so sorry I took that away from
You were
you.
close
She's
enough.
19 and she wants to buy a house, but she has to be 21 to own a gun.
Thanks, Rick Scott.
How does that work?
So here's how it works. We we're not laying guns down on the closing table.
Okay.
That would make a good commercial, though. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So here you bought a duplex. Here's 2. here you bought an apartment building. Here's 9 guns. No, it's not like that.
Oh.
Typically, what we do is we offer a credit on the closing statement to the client, and that's kind of how we do it. And then we give that credit to local gun companies that we have an affiliation with, and they go through and take care of the process with the gun store. We don't ever actually own the gun.
Yeah.
We just provide the credit to facilitate it happen.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
So awesome. Thank you.
That's very cool,
And,
Cliff.
and every gun comes laser engraved with MAGA Realty on it.
Oh, that's the
great.
best part.
I just want to know where I can purchase the weapon. Like, that's all I want.
Just hang it on our door.
So.
Well, thank you so much for that, Cliff. Now, you've got a great event coming up this weekend. I want to give you a chance to let our viewers know about that and about where they can catch up with you and learn more about MAGA Realty and your events in the future.
Yeah, this weekend, I'm the organizer. One of my claims to fame, if I have any fame, which is no fame, but
All the
some
fame,
people
Cliff,
know
all
me
the
as the
fame.
guy who organized the world record boat parade from Trump.
Yes.
Trump tweeted out about me the day after. He sent me a white MAGA hat with gold embroidery that he signed, sent to my house. So this year, we are doing it. We are the official campaign kickoff Trump boat parade of the season. So we wanted to be the first one to do it. So this weekend in Clearwater is the MAGA boat parade, and it starts at 10 a.m. If you go to MAGAboatparade.com, go to MAGAboatparade.com, and you can see the winner of the boat parade for the most MAGA, the boat that has the most MAGA, the most flags, the most decorations,
That's amazing.
is going to win this MAGA hat right here that's signed by Donald Trump.
Nice.
Oh.
So, yeah, so it's just going to be a good time. You know, we're just going to travel down the intercoastal of Western Florida from Clearwater down to Johns Pass, if anybody knows where that is. And we're just going to trigger as many liberals along the way as possible.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Okay, so I have to say this. I remember going to the first one, and I felt like Moana. We came up on like this bend, and I turned around and I saw nothing but boats on the horizon. I was like, there's more boats! It was crazy. And like this feeling that you get, everybody on the boat was just so emotionally and awestruck. Like we were all like crying. It was so weird. Like we were just crying. I'm like, why is water coming from my eyes? Like it's just a boat parade. But it was more than that. And we were in a time where we saw tyranny, I think, for the first time hit our shores and hit our land. I mean, I guess for my generation,
Yes,
you know
you're
what I
right.
mean? It was really insane. And so I just want to thank you and commend you for even putting that together. It changed my whole life. And I'm so excited. I can't wait for the next one. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And, you know, I remember when I did the first one, I wasn't sure how many boats were going to be there. It ended up being about 2,500 boats. And I came out and I saw boats kind of going out there, but when I got to the Gulf, when you saw like 2,500 boats, I'm just like, wow, it's actually happened.
It was quite the sight.
And by the time that this airs, the boat parade will probably have already passed, definitely. So, where can they go to watch, see the content that from the boat parade, see the winner?
It'll be on MAGA Realty's Facebook page.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful. Cliff Gebhardt, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we're going to have you hopefully in the studio at some point. You'll be severely outnumbered, but I know you don't mind that.
All right, that's good. I'm all good, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you for all you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Awesome. It is so wonderful to see people that, just like we opened the show, you putting that voice. You know, I'm not afraid. I'm not going to apologize. This is my viewpoint, and so this is something that I'm going to do. That I'm gonna put that out there. I love that. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, but before I do, another person who has a lot of courage, and it is contagious because anytime I'm around him, it seems like I get even more bolder, is America's General Michael Flynn. He's on his 35-city nationwide tour right now, telling his side of the story, guys. You've heard every other side of the story. That's false, by the way. He's finally getting to tell his story. Go to flynnmovie.us. You'll see there's actually a new trailer that's out. But you can also order a DVD if you prefer to have a hard copy. But you can also stream it on many, many services. There's Apple TV, YouTube, and Amazon. I know a lot of these companies are left-leaning, but you know what? We can download so many copies of General Flynn's movie that it goes to the top. And like Cliff said, why not trigger a liberal this
MAGA
weekend?
takeover.
Wouldn't that just be fun?
Yes, there's actually a new longer trailer that just came out that has more stuff in it
Oh, it's
that
so
not
good.
a lot of people have seen. So
It's so
definitely
good.
go look at it.
That's right. That's right. Go to flynnmovie.us. We'll be right back with more of the Homefront. Stay tuned.
President's former national security advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, pleading guilty today to lying to the FBI.
Flynn knew exactly how the system worked. He knew exactly what the intel world had been up to. He understood its funding. They had to get rid of Flynn.
There was a moment where I just felt like I was drowning. And so I'm in there with these other political appointees. They're all supposed to go in there and tell what they believe to be the truth. What they did was they took my assessment and they wanted me to change it. And I was like, I'm not changing it.
He was, by definition, the most dangerous possible person for Donald Trump to hire.
President Obama said, but I do have one specific recommendation. Stay away from Michael Flynn. He's bad news.
Over time, instead of being pounded down below the surface of the ocean, we started to fight. I'm now above the surface.
Welcome back to the Homefront America. So we've had a fun time today talking about a lot of topics. Of course, we just had Cliff on as a guest. I wanted to, we were talking offline here during the commercial break, and the topic of HOAs came up, and I could see the tension rise. I could see the blood pressure boiling. If you've had to deal with an HOA at home, you know what that's like. So, you know, we hate the idea of this big government, but I feel like HOAs are an example of sort of a smaller version of Big Brother. You know, they want to tell you, I'm sure there's some good uses to them, but they want to tell you how tall to keep your grass, what you can I heard you talking about a car that's parked in front of your house.
It's ridiculous. So my daughter works in law enforcement. I can't really say what agency, but you know, her vehicle's sitting outside overnight.
You would think they'd feel safe with that. I
You
would love
think.
that.
You would think that. But instead, they're trying to threaten us with fines.
Oh, gosh.
They're threatening us even if a morsel of our lawn is not quite the right height, or if it's browner or not as bright green as they'd like it to be.
And this didn't happen until her car was parked there?
Until her vehicle was parked in front of our home. Can you believe that?
No, and what's the complaint? That it has like a...
That it obscures their view when they're driving.
Of what, the grass?
I mean, do they think it's like a business vehicle?
No, it's not even that. It's just that her vehicle is there. And we never had a problem. We've got a 3-car garage, but we have 6 or 7 cars in and out through, you know, the space that we have. But her vehicle is pretty large, and it sits right up front, tucked into, you know, towards our house. And they have a perfect pathway to get through. And they complain and they complain and they complain. And according to where we live, the HOA has stated that the neighbors, 30 out of 100, are the ones complaining. And I said, well, did you tell those 30 that the people adjacent to us, their homes have been broken into? And then there's major auto theft that was taking place in the other adjacent of our side. Their community was constant police in there, in and out. Because they had young teenagers stealing vehicles and doing whatever that thing on Instagram or
those
TikTok
trends,
or whatever the trend is, where you could break into a car if it's a certain brand or whatever.
Kia.
Whatever.
I have a Kia.
It's
I've had to deal
ridiculous.
with it.
It's ridiculous. And I just couldn't understand. So we've had our first, we never do this. We went into our first HOA meeting. And I think I just did the smackdown, and they didn't know what to say. And I said, if you dare harass us one more time, because this is called harassment, everybody pay attention, because it is called harassment. You've done nothing wrong, and they're targeting you because of what your religious belief might be, or because of what your political view is. They don't agree with it. In the middle of this, you know, meeting that we had, I said, I forgot. I thought we were in America. Is this a communist, you know, HOA thing? Because when have I ever experienced this until now? Never. Absolutely. What are we supposed to do? How do you fight back?
So HOA, just because I don't own a home.
Homeowners Association.
It's like they tell you what you can and can't have when
Another
you're on that
three-letter
thing.
organization that doesn't have the right to exist.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Well, and when they're saying 30 out of 100, that reminds me of the old commercial, 7 out of 8 dentists prefer this
Oh my
toothpaste.
gosh.
Where are those dentists? I've
Right.
never quite, like, I
And
would
the
ask
thing
them,
is-
produce the paperwork.
30 out of 100. That means that there's 70 that do
Yeah.
not care.
Yeah.
Yes.
The majority.
The
Yes.
majority doesn't care.
Yes.
Like, lead with that.
Yeah.
My
so
goodness.
that's why I said I want to sell my house and we want to get land.
Have you experienced HOA issues?
Yes. The thing with the HOA is you willingly go in, right?
Yes.
So it's not as though they're acting upon us without our consent.
Yeah.
So this is
Actually-
one problem. But because we are in Florida and there's so many HOAs and it's hard to find a place without an HOA, my contention with the HOA is it's supposed to keep the community clean, reasonable, roads, working well, flowers beautiful, the community. But what
Pool.
they've decided to do is go after the individual. So now they're like micromanaging our personal space.
Yes.
I just think you deal with the pool and the clubhouse and the roadways and the flowers.
Well, that's the thing.
But why
we
are you
don't.
micromanaging us?
We moved into a brand new community that didn't even have an HOA yet. So they came after we moved in.
How'd that happen? Did you vote them in?
No, I didn't even know that there was a voting in or not. It just
So
happened.
here's the homework for today.
Okay, homework
Everybody
today, people,
go
pay attention.
be on that dreadful, horrible, no good, very bad HOA board. Because right now, you know who's leading it is, well, I was going to be hyperbolic and say it's the Marxists, but it's people who love the rules. We have to go on there and have people like us go into the HOA so that we can use good money management to make sure things are done well, but without managing the people. Stop
and
off my
you know,
space.
to your other point about the pool and the their grounds, we don't have a swimming pool. We don't have a clubhouse. All we have is a mailbox that everyone goes to locally, a community mailbox area.
What are you giving your money to?
Right.
That's but wait, they raised the price 4 times in a matter of a year and a half.
To do
The
what?
dues?
Everything to do for the dues, for the new lawn care.
Careful, you're not going to be able to sell your house. No.
I don't know. It's unbelievable
wild.
what's happening, and what General Flynn says. Local.
Can I tell a story about my HOA?
Please.
I don't know if we have time.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I got a dog. It was a rescue, and I didn't know that my HOA, because I ignore it, had a limit to size.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. So apparently you're only supposed to be 35 pounds.
Oh,
well,
good Lord.
she was 45, so I was like, I could shrink her a little, but I thought, well, that's not really fair to her. So I could get a emotional support animal thing. Okay.
That's
jump,
legal.
Jump through hoops. So she's an emotional support animal. So I get this, and the very next thing that I see is the rules committee of the HOA
Oh no.
is going to have a topic on emotional support animals. So I'm like, are you jerking my chain? I'm the only one here with
Right.
an emotional support. So I go to the meeting, and they said, well, we've called, and there's nothing you can do about these emotional support animals. Somebody could have a bear. Somebody could have a potbelly pig. There's nothing we can do about it. So, I mean, I think this is hilarious, right? I'm like, are we at risk of having a bear or a potbelly? What do you think the degree of risk is? And they're like, well, probably not a lot, but I'm like, they had to know. If somebody came in with a pig or a bear, there was nothing that they could do about it. Does anybody have any questions? I go, was your entire thing to let us know that there's nothing you could do about having emotional support? Yes, that was
So
it.
in other words, we're afraid we're opening the door to this by allowing this one person to have an emotional support. Tomorrow it could be a bear.
Tomorrow it could be a bear.
They catastrophize so much.
Just get a bear.
I know. Just
get a bear.
Actually,
Get a baby bear.
their biggest fear is bully breeds. That's what their big.
As they're bullying
that
you.
makes
Guess
it
what?
boil.
Guess what the bully breed was? Doberman.
What?
Doberman?
Doberman
German
Pinscher,
Shepherd.
German Shepherd. Those are beautiful. Those are beautiful
makes my
animals. If
blood
you have one, I
boil.
love them.
Don't get an HOA. Somebody said to me, "You got the HOA because you love the rules." I was like, "No, that's not why."
Well, I do know that there was a representative here in Florida that was trying to put forth some legislation to kind of squash some of the powers that the HOA has at the local level. However, our Republican-run legislature would not hear the bill.
So let's just translate that though over into the government. I think that this HOA, same problem, where they're supposed to be keeping the infrastructure, the main thing, that is what they should be focusing on. And then leave the individuals alone.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
That's what the government also should be doing.
Absolutely.
You make sure the streets are safe, but leave us alone.
Sovereignty.
And now the government thinks that they're just kind of like a large HOA. They're going to govern everything. Code
Every
enforcement
aspect
has,
of you. It's insane.
mutated.
I feel like you were in my house, like a fly on the wall, because my husband and I just had this conversation yesterday, and we're happy to be talking about it today. What a discussion. And he said that very thing.
Yes.
He said they are taking over. And he's like, don't we pay them for that, do that position?
Right.
Don't we pay the government to talk on our behalf?
In my county, I talked to one of the commissioners and I said something because they were increasing the code enforcement department. And she said, I know that's a concern to me too. In fact, I wanted to have a citizens advisory board that somebody comes before the citizen advisory board first. That citizen advisory board determines like the fine or the problem before it gets put up to the magistrate.
No.
I said, wait, whoa. So you're going to do a citizen advisory board of Karens, that they come before you. We're policing our neighbors on your made-up code anyway, on our private property. I said, why don't you have a citizen advisory board that redlines code enforcement?
Exactly.
That's
so
really
first
good
of all,
idea.
my
I have a
issue
ton of
with
them.
these citizen advisory boards, I have a problem with, because we have representatives that are giving away their power that we have given them to govern. It's your job to govern, not for you to give your governance to a board
The recommendation
that's not
of the
elected, that you pick
Another
to
three-
sit on
three-letter
this
agency.
board that is going to implement things that aren't, that don't follow the
don't
rule of
apply.
law. They don't follow the Constitution. They don't follow that sovereignty that we're supposed to live by. So absolutely not. I'm furious with these citizen advisory boards. Like, what are you advising on?
And then this group of volunteers becomes the experts, just
Right,
like
and then the power, right, gets to it goes to their head. Their egos become inflated, and it's just like, and then you sit there and you're like looking at your neighbors like, what do we even do? Who are we even fighting? I don't understand. And then you go to the county commission and you're like, this isn't supposed to work that way. And they're like, oh, our hands are tied. Your hands are not tied. Just do your job. Sorry.
That's so
not
funny.
sorry.
for county commission.
That's so funny. I'm still stuck on the whole bully breed thing. Like,
Bully breeds.
Yeah.
God, so animals cannot have a home just because you're scared of them, because you are scared of them. Are you living in that home? No? Okay, great. Then don't get one. But don't tell someone else what they can and cannot have in their home.
Well,
and then don't complain about how there's so many wild, huge dogs on the street. Oh my God, no, they don't have homes, because you're not letting them have a home.
Preach, girl.
Oh, just
Sorry.
made her mad.
Push Brianna's buttons over there.
She's an animal lover.
I
Yes.
love it.
Oh my God, I can't stand that, because you can't pick on other people. Like, pick on someone your own side. Pick on someone your own species.
There's that.
I love that. I love that. Well, and there is some truth to that. I mean, like we looked for that. We got our dog. He was a rescue as well. We got him. We lived in an HOA, so we were very cautious about the size of the animal that we got. But our hearts are really for the larger breeds, like the German Shepherds. Oh my gosh!
I want a pit bull.
I mean, they're beautiful animals, and it is kind of a shame because just like the squad car in front of your house, it's for protection. You know, I like having those bigger breeds.
I want a pit bull, and I want to name her Macy, which is short for massacre.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, Brianna's my favorite.
We love having young blood at the table, definitely. Definitely. And, speaking of a kind of growing government, I know, Michelle, you work a lot on keeping an eye on what's going on in Congress. So I'm just shifting a little bit to more of a national stage. What can you open our eyes a little bit to some things that have been going on, sometimes our own Republicans, of what they're doing? I know I saw this picture of them waving the Ukraine flag
listen, girl.
right there on the floor, and I thought, well, let's support if that's what they want to do. But why are we waving another country's flag?
First of all, violates code.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about
that's
code,
true.
it violates all kinds
Was
of
this?
codes.
I'm so
Rules.
sorry. I'm unaware of this. Was this in a school building?
Oh no, this
What
was on
was
the
this?
congressional floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Michelle,
Oh,
there's a lot with this.
Okay,
so, yeah.
please.
Go
Well,
ahead.
they had just
share.
passed that. They had just passed that $100 billion supplement.
Oh my goodness.
$60 billion went to Ukraine. We borrowed the money, by the way, to give to Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. Okay.
That
we
makes
borrowed the money to
Probably
give to
from
somebody
China.
else. And when it passed, when the bill passed, they were waving Ukrainian flags in the halls of
I
Congress.
have to give kudos to Representative Anna Paulina Luna,
She's
who
awesome.
she was like, put the damn flags away.
awesome.
Amen, girl.
She's awesome.
I would have lost my
awesome.
dang
She's
mind.
awesome.
Okay, so I'm a little behind, but my son, apparently, who is 17 in a week, he came home and he was like, Mom, I had the biggest debate with my school director. I homeschool, and we have a community that we have a person that goes in to facilitate a class to make sure everyone's on task and they're doing what they're supposed to do at their grade level or higher. And so he proceeded to tell me that the debate was basically about why it's so great that the USA gave the Ukrainians and the Israelites and all these people, all these other countries, billions and billions of dollars. And my son, I said, well, what did you say, honey? What was the big deal? He goes, I'm going to get in trouble. You're going to receive a phone call. I'm like, bring it, bring
Yes,
it.
we love
bring
have
it,
him
babe.
on the home
I
front.
love it because my kids know I'm feisty,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they don't like to be feisty except for my eldest daughter who's been on the show. She's feisty like her mama. But my two younger ones, they're more like reserved. They don't like to confront and have arguments. I was so proud. It was a proud mama moment because yes, I do love this woman. She's Ukrainian. She's amazing. Great being, wonderful mom, all the great things, right? But she didn't like what my son had to say. And she said, oh, Jackson, how can you say such a thing? The Ukrainians and this and that. And Jackson's like, why is our government giving away money we don't even have?
Yeah,
Why are we getting it? This is soon to be 17-year-old boy. Ladies and gentlemen, please, homeschool, it's really worth trying. Just my personal opinion, you should try it and work with it. But my son debated, and she started to use her argument, or his argument as a sovereign, and just to kind of go back and forth to win her case. And he looked at her and he said, Miss such and such, you're using my own argument against yourself. So I think we just understood that our government was making a mistake by borrowing trillions of dollars to give to other countries.
I love
Mind you,
that.
while our veterans, our
that.
homeless veterans are suffering.
And that's what he said.
and-
That's what
yep.
he said. He's like, we have people here who are poor, who are
Homeless
living in the
Americans,
streets,
yeah.
people who fought for our country. Then he goes on to say that my brother, who was in the military,
Yes.
he served many tours and he came back very different. And I get a little choked up about it, but my son noticed it and he said, Mom, it's just like we have people right here in our own land that need the help. Why don't we borrow money to help them? And I'm like, wow.
Also, isn't it a little ironic? Like we're being told it's to protect Ukrainian borders. Am I living in the twilight zone?
Yep.
What about ours?
border?
We are being
They get to have
infiltrated.
one and we don't.
No, I mean, like if you understand the concept of sovereignty,
Hang on.
can we translate that over to American sovereignty at our
but
own borders?
We have our own travel service
I know,
that we're
I know.
paying for. Not only did we buy a bridge a few months ago, we're paying for illegal aliens to fly
paroled over here.
around the United States
Preach it.
without getting patted down, without getting their IDs checked, without getting your face scanned, without.
Meanwhile, I can't even go into Joyland if with my freaking belt that has a knife in it.
I'm saying.
Yeah, if you've ever had to stand in a line at customs or be, patted and wanded and shoes off. What am I carrying in my shoes? They're heels. But whatever, I'm not going to go with the shoes. That's a really sore subject.
All
But
of this,
and they're
all
just
this money you
walking
pay
across
for
the-
TSA Clear or TSA PreCheck, and the illegal criminal aliens have like their own freaking pass line. Like what?
So
what
you
is
know,
happening here?
and I just read a report that the Biden regime is working out a way to fast track refugees from Gaza here.
Oh yeah, Palestinians. They want them
Okay,
to come here.
I've got something else to say because now I'm getting a little uptight here.
Uh-oh.
So
This is gonna be my
my
favorite
family,
episode.
my mother's Cuban. I am first generation American in this country, and I'm super proud to say it. But my mother has come here to this country at the age of 10, 10 years old, because of what was happening there. She came here with the freedom of knowing that she was allowed to come here because of what JFK did during that time.
Right.
Right? She did it the right way. Well, not her, but my grandmother. Thank you, Grandma. And just this past November, I had to pay an attorney to fight for her to remain here as not a citizen, but as her residency, because she never did anything about it. She was unaware of what had to happen after my grandmother had passed away.
Wow.
And my grandmother left her these documents and said, one day you'll need these, but never explained what the reasons were. So if you're coming in here legally and you have children, don't just hand them documents saying something may happen to me, you might need these. Explain to them what steps they have to take. Because guess what? 55, 60 years later, my mother's being told that she'll be deported if they don't prove that she is a resident here. And I had to go through hoops and bounds and all these things. But meanwhile, the person who's residing in the White House and all the people that are with him are allowing people to infiltrate our country and murder our beautiful young men and women and do the things that they're doing, and they just get a slap on their wrist.
And create chaos at
This is
college
not
campuses.
the America that we knew. What is going on?
And I'm telling you, most of you might know this already. We broadcast from Florida, the wonderful free state of Florida. But I'm telling you, reports have come out showing the migrant flights and where they've been going, and they're
Florida is
here
not
too.
exempt.
And let me tell you, they are getting Social Security numbers. They're
Yes, they
getting
are.
debit cards. They are getting driver's licenses. And I'm here to pledge for a wake-up call. There is nothing on these driver's licenses that illegals are getting that differentiates them from a U.S. citizen. So
When they
a lot of
register
our,
to vote.
Yes, so a lot of our DMVs are not, they don't
They're not
talk to
checking.
the supervisor of elections necessarily. So you go and apply for your voter registration, you provide your driver's license. How do they know that you're a U.S. citizen? It's a box you check. It's off of the old.
Or the flip side, if you get your license, they'll say, do you want to register to vote? And you say yes, they can't ask if you're a
Or
citizen.
even be an organ donor.
Why can't they ask you that? That's my question for all the legislators out there.
Amen.
All of the candidates out there, what are you going to do about this situation?
Actually, I think Florida just
right?
did
Like
something
we
about
have
this.
to make sure that we're checking for citizenship, not just
I think
licensure.
Florida did just do something. That was a federal thing, the DMV.
Right.
Florida did just do
There's four
that's
bills.
good.
There's 4 bills that were tried in the Florida legislature. They only picked up one of them, and it was people were going in and, like when you renew your license, they were finding a glitch in the DMV system that would reset their voter registration to like NPA, no party
wow.
affiliation. And you wouldn't realize it till you went to vote in the next primary.
Right.
So they
That's
are
it. That's
closing that
interesting.
loophole. There was nothing done with citizenship. And so this is my plea to you.
Yes.
Find out who your local state legislators are. Find out, there are states that are doing it. I just saw the other day, Representative Lee, I'm not sure what state he's from, calling to have this happen. I tagged my representative and said, come on, call a special session. It's never too late. Let's go. You only need a certain percentage of the legislature to agree to get up there into Tallahassee and get this done, because I want to see who says, bless you, who says, no, I don't think I'm going to call a special session to do that.
Don't just call the legislator. Make sure you're calling the Speaker of the House. Make sure you're calling the Senate President. Make sure you're calling your governor.
Yes.
Because those 3 are the ones that are able to put what is heard on the House floor, what's heard on the Senate floor. So if you're not pushing for those 3 people to put this on the House floor, put this on the agenda, you can talk to your legislator all day long, and they're not going to be able to do much of anything. That's a good point. This is why you should, civic engagement. Just saying.
All of the people that you just mentioned, legislator, senator, those were the only 2 that I actually
Knew.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, and it's funny because here in Florida, we pride ourselves on having a Republican trifecta. We have Republican House, Republican Senate, Republican governor. And so the fact, this is just a learning curve right now, America. We're the prime example. Republican, that little R next to your name
Doesn't mean anything.
doesn't
Absolutely
mean
true.
anything. Get out there and get involved in these primaries.
Get involved in the
we're
party.
getting a little short on time. Can I say, you gave somebody homework, I think during the show, didn't you, to go, was that?
Oh yeah, just to be
HOA.
part of your HOA.
To be a part of your HOA. I like that. We always give homework here at the home front.
And show up for your county commission meeting.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And your
engaged.
school board.
I was going to say, show up at those local meetings, and I even think you should research what is your state doing? Because really the states have
Yes.
authority over the elections.
Yes.
What are your states doing to ensure that illegals are not able to vote? And I think it's a very simple question, but you'll get a runaround answer. I think you need to drive that home right now to see what your state's done. And if they haven't done anything, be a part of the solution. Before we leave here, I want to remind you to navigate over to thehomefront.tv. We've got some fun swag there, and everybody's going to want to get their yoga pants. I also want to thank...
They're so cute.
They are cute.
There's a fanny pack that says "Protecting My Home Front."
Oh,
I love
that's
it.
so cool. We need to, with Fanny, we need to come up with something funny for Fanny Willis. Like, whatever.
Oh my
that's
goodness, that's gonna be fun.
I want to give a special thank you to Cape Hayes Tavern. They're right here in Rotunda West, just a little bit out of Sarasota County. They provided all the yummy, delicious snacks backstage.
gorgeous.
Good.
Because you don't want 5 hungry women
No.
on the show. That's
we
not
get
going to be pretty.
hangry, and then it's just not good.
You can find more information about them.
It was super healthy.
Yes, it was. Find out more information about them at capehaystavern.com. We like to close with a prayer. So, ladies, we've kind of spoken about a lot of heavy topics today.
Yes.
So we're going to
Yes.
close in prayer. And you pray with us at home, too, because God says where 2 or more are gathered, and we pray according to his word, it will be done. So, Father, we just come before you today. We give you thanks for the opportunity to have airwaves that we can broadcast something that is as real and true as the home front. Father, I want to thank you today for the women that stand in the home fronts across the country, Lord, the moms, the grandmas, the aunties, the big sisters, Lord, the people, the women of this country. I pray, Lord, that you pour out a serious anointing on them to stand guard over their families. And I pray too, Lord, that you rise up godly men across the country, godly men and women to fill seats of authority across our country. Lord, look at our canvas of our government, from the Congress all the way down to the school board. And any leader, Lord, in 2024 that's not willing to submit their authority to the lordship of you and do it your way, Lord, I pray that you remove them and seat someone in their place. We are equipped for such a time as this because of you. Because of you, Lord, all things are possible. We're praying, Lord, for a resurrection and revolution of godliness in our country. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Woo! All right.
stuff.
That's wonderful. And I do pray, we're the home front. We do have a panel of women, but we definitely recognize the importance of men in our country, men in our household, fathers in the household. So I want to just remind you that we're praying for you too, guys. Thank you so much for joining the home front. Till next time, we'll see you later. Bye.